Welcome to Having It All, Lifestyles of the Rich and Conscious with MarBeth Dunn, featuring experts and pioneers in health, wealth, relationships, and spirituality, creating a happier, healthier, wealthier you. And now, here's our host, MarBeth Dunn.
Well, hi there. Today on Having It All, Lifestyles of the Rich and Conscious, Episode 3, A Wealthier You. I'm MarBeth Dunn, coach, mentor, empath, and intuitive, and I can help you confidently align with your purpose, accelerate your growth, and unleash your intuitive genius. Would you like the recipe for creating wealth? Coming up on our next segment is a woman who was knighted for a lifetime of philanthropy and service. She has mentored some of the top motivational and business experts in the world, including Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansen, Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki, and T. Harv Eker. But first, a few years back, I toured around Ireland with a group. We visited the spiritual sites. It was a great time, and in our group was a beautiful Pakistani woman who lived in the UK. And she's divorced now, but she was married for several years, and she was confined to wearing a burqa. And she told me that during her marriage, she had been so unhappy that she ate so much junk food, she became a size 14. Now, she sat beside me on the tour for days, and I watched her eat candy. I watched her eat chips and drink Coca-Cola. I never once saw her eat anything healthy. But she was a perfect size 5. Now, she had never changed her eating habits from when she was a size 14. I was very curious, so I asked her how she lost the weight, and she told me that every day in the shower, as she ran the soap over her body, she affirmed, "I love me. I love every aspect about me. I love my hair. I love my face. I love my skin. I love my breasts." She went through all over her body. It became a ritual that she performed at least once a day. She spent a great deal of time performing this ritual, and the pounds just melted away. Now, I don't recommend eating junk food, but I am all about self-love. If you ever saw the movie What the Bleep Do We Know, or read Masaru Emoto's The Hidden Messages of Water, you know that your thoughts and beliefs affect water. Your body is about 80% water, and telling your body how much you love and appreciate it will have a hugely positive effect on you. It may help to reprogram your beliefs about yourself, may have long-reaching effects. Then if you've been stuck in old patterns and your old solutions are not working, download my free report, Having It All, 5 Steps to Wealth and Wellness and the Pitfalls to Avoid. Go to TheHavingItAllShow.com and download your free report now. That's TheHavingItAllShow.com. Our featured guest has mentored some of the top motivational and business experts in the world. Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansen. You've all heard of Chicken Soup for the Soul. Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki, and T. Harv Eker. They've all graduated from her programs. Dame DC Cordova is the CEO of Accelerated Business Schools and Money and You. It's a global organization with over 100,000 graduates from the Asia Pacific and North American regions in both English and Chinese. She's even been knighted for a lifetime of philanthropy and service. I'm so thrilled to have you on my show, DC.
Thank you so very much. It's an honor to be here.
So, DC, would you share with us how you got to where you are today? You know, you didn't start out at the top. You have a story. Would you share your story with us?
Thank you so much. I actually began being a court reporter. I was in the legal system in my 20s. Originally I was an assistant legal secretary, and then I became an interpreter in English and Spanish, and then I became an official court reporter in the legal system. I was going to grow up to be an attorney, and by the time I was 24 years old, I had experienced a lot of loss. My first love had died when I was only 18, had a miscarriage, and then I had some more friends died and had another miscarriage. So it was pretty tough. So what I pretty much did was I immersed myself in business and in work so that I didn't feel much of anything. And then I moved to Hawaii. There was a series of circumstances that occurred in the legal system, which is too long of a story to share right now. And I literally decided that since I was going to be so unhappy, I might as well go to a beautiful place like Hawaii. So I moved to Hawaii, and when I was 26 years old, I didn't know that beauty heals and that all these things can happen when you are in nature so much. And I had what could be considered an enlightenment experience or an epiphany. And I realized that I had been put in the world to do much more than to just be a party girl. And so I ended up looking for the work of my life. I ended up finding different teachers. I did the S training at the time, and then met Sandra Ray that really taught me to clear what they call the birth trauma. And then she introduced me a year later to my mentors that had created an entrepreneurial business school that was based not only on sound business principles, but also on a lot of the personal development tools that were coming online at the time. And I love the combination of the two because I had learned so much about business in court. I had really, after you study for 3 years and you're listening to all these cases over and over again. So I had learned quite a bit about business. So I was able to really combine the two things, ended up inheriting the work, and have been doing it for 35 years. And in many ways, I've been following the clues. And I always like to say this to people that I'm really not that smart. I'm street smart. There's no question about me being street smart. But when you compare, if I compare myself to some of the big entrepreneurs on the planet, I'm not even that entrepreneurial in nature, but I'm a very good connector. I'm very smart at surrounding myself with very smart people that will counsel me and talk to me about how to succeed. And I follow their advice. I really model after them until I grow my own wings. And that has really allowed me to become very successful. So I'm street smart, but I'm also a good learner. And I'm a lifelong learner. And having been in business schools for the last 35 years, I have learned so much from so many masters. It would really be a shame if I wasn't as successful as I am without all that knowledge and contacts and all the people that I'm surrounded by. So I follow the clues. My true success comes from me following the clues. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I love that. There are a few things that I want to touch on that you mentioned. One was that you had experienced deep loss, first of your love and then of your child, and then also from other people as well. And I find that when people are stuck, it's generally because they have not dealt with their loss. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. It was really interesting because whenever I have supported people in really finding their way and in finding what it is that they do, that may be blocking them, we always get to a place where we have to take a look of where they have made a decision that has maybe disempowered them to move forward or to allow themselves to having it all. And so there are different blocks, and different people have different glass ceilings. So women are not the only ones that have glass ceilings. And it's a word that somebody taught me called deservability. So there's certain levels of deservability that when you clear your fear of loss, when you clear your fear of possibly, well, there's all kinds of fears that human beings have. They are all irrational, because they're so subconscious, and then we can be completely capable. We can be doing the most amazing thing. And then all of a sudden we find ourselves sabotaging ourselves. And at that point, if a human being is not really honest with themselves, they can get very stuck in that and not be able to move out of it. Particularly, we find that with men. So when you look at my old business partner, Robert Kiyosaki of Rich Dad Poor Dad, we were business partners for 9 years. It's been 20 years since we haven't been business partners. He went on to do a lot of investment work, and I went on to humanitarian entrepreneurial work. And one of the things he mentions that in some of his books, that he really had to do a lot of work on himself, which of course we all supported him and he supported us. We were all growing together. Same thing with Jack Canfield, Tony Robbins, Harv Eker. I mean, those guys were all people that did our programs and study. People like Harv Eker studied with us for 7 years. And a lot of the work that he did was clearing his own blocks. So those are some of the big names. And, we have had over 100,000 people that have attended our programs. Some of them very wealthy, billionaires, very rich. Some of them very successful. And some of them have been just people that were plain people that had some block and they couldn't go to the next level that they wanted to. They are like people that were making huge contribution in their own field that you may have never heard about, but they also experience that. So it's almost like a human condition. And I absolutely, totally support all human beings if they want to be successful and be happy, because there are many people on the planet that also completely suppress their feelings. They drink a lot, they use drugs. And if you want to be truly wealthy, healthy, you really can't afford to do those things.
It's so true. And so many people suppress their feelings by using drugs and alcohol, or even drama, or overeating because they need to fill that void, and without realizing that all they need to do is love and accept themselves. So many people think that making money is counter to their life purpose, that if they're going to be a heart-centered entrepreneur, that it's wrong for them to be making money. What do you think about that?
Well, really, a person needs to be very clear and a little bit what we call neutral, flat on cash and on money. They need to understand that money is just a means of exchange. It was a tool that was created long, long ago in order for us to be able to exchange products and services and create profit. It just got a little bit crazy and operated through the years, through the decades, and some of it, of course, has some religious connotations about that. So I always recommend to people to do whatever work they need to do in order to become neutral about money and really just get that money is something that we use as an exchange, and also have an understanding on how money works. There's 3 steps to money. One of them, you're either in the process of making it or keeping it or growing it. They're in the process of making money, keeping the money that you manage to make, or growing the money that you manage to keep. All 3 of them have different dynamics. All 3 of them need different teachers, different principles, different tools. And if people don't know where they are, or they're not really honest with themselves of where they are at, they have a tendency to get very confused even how to study money, or they create a lot of drama. And unfortunately, sometimes males have a little bit of a higher drama hook when it comes to making the money. They get very hooked on the endorphins, on the testosterone that gets created in the drama of making it, and then they lose it, and then they make it again, and they get stuck in a cycle. So we really empower people through our Money and You program, our Accelerated Business School for Entrepreneurs. And, people can look up a lot of what we do through Google Hangouts, and I'm sure you will give them some great links on where they can find out more about us. And one of the things that we do is we teach them a thing called the business success model, and we help them clear their deservability level, then also give them the business success model. And that allows them and gives them an opportunity to be able to combine sound business principles with clarity of their subconscious and create success without guilt, without shame, without blame, without having judgment on money.
We'll be back to our show in just a moment. Would you agree that the current state of the world is angry, chaotic, turbulent, and possibly insane? And that's not even mentioning everyone's personal issues. We all need miracles, and now is the time. I'm MarBeth Dunn, the Miracle Mama. Imagine a river of miracles flowing into your life, bringing harmonious relationships, better health, prosperity, clarity, peace of mind, and a deep sense of joy. What if you could know all your needs are being met and feel calm and peaceful even in the midst of turbulent change? Get your free guide now, 7 easy ways to harness the power of miracles at miracles101.com. That's miracles101.com and live your miraculous life.
I know that you are very much about service, and it seems to me that much of your wealth is based on service. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
One of our mentors was Buckminster Fuller. Buckminster Fuller is a beautiful man that was probably more responsible on this planet for churning out more socially responsible people than anyone, because he really taught us the mathematics that if you really commit your life to the betterment of humanity, the Great Spirit will take care of you. Okay? So one of the things that I did was, because I have been sitting in the back and bringing in all these masters using the business success model in my business schools, I learned licensing. And I knew that if I set up a system of licensing and of having other people prosper more than I do, and having more of the spirit of service, that I would do my business, I would do Money and You in the business school no matter what. Is that spirit of service and understanding that if you have really good systems in place, but you also have a very pure spirit of why you want to do something, and you have a product of service that people really like, and you have an economic engine around it, you are going to succeed. So what happens after a while is that then you have enough money, enough time, enough energy to be of tremendous service. That's why I have a title of Dame. I'm actually knighted for my lifelong service to humanity in many different ways. But for me, my mission is to transform educational systems around the world and eradicate poverty and hunger. My purpose is to uplift humanity's consciousness through business. And the fact that I happen to have a business and I have the most awesome, the most beautiful partners in the whole world. I have the most beautiful partners around the world, including in America now with my new partner, Domingo Silvas, in China, Taiwan, Wilson Lin, and of course in Malaysia, Wendy Tan and Terrence Tan and JC Wee. These are my partners that are very successful, that work with me. And all the people that I just mentioned, their hearts are very service oriented. And now I also have a partner in a renewable energy business who is our billionaire with heart partner, who is of complete service, of attempting to create the whole world being green. He introduced the first green law in China, won the Nobel Prize for thermal energy for doing that, and has become a billionaire from just being literally of service, but couching that service with very sound business principles so that our deservability level keeps going up as we serve more and more people.
So what you're saying, and that's fabulous, DC, what you're saying is that it's actually a recipe in order to be able to create financial success. We need to learn sound business principles as well as have this service and I guess that heart-centered desire to serve humanity. Did I leave anything out?
Well, look at Oprah Winfrey. Look at Oprah Winfrey. She is the most amazing service-oriented girl, but she also is very business-oriented and very young. She learned the rules of the game of business. And in many ways, she started out producing her own shows so that she could have more control over it, because many of the things she wanted to do as an Afro-American woman, she wasn't going to be allowed. They were beginning to put a lot of restrictions, projecting a lot of stuff on her. And she just went, well, let me just take a look at how this thing is done. She found out the recipe and ran with it. And look what happened to her. She is such a prime example. Now, I'm going to bring up a very funny example that puts people in shock a little bit. But the reason I'm bringing it up, because this is a prediction that I'm making. 3 years from now, 5 years from now, we'll say, wow, she made a really good prediction. I'm going to talk about the Kardashians. And I'm going to talk about this beautiful girl. What is the name of the main one? Kim Kardashian. You know, at first, I was judgmental of her because it was like, oh, she hasn't done anything. How did she get there? And I started thinking, wait a minute. No. She hasn't not done anything. Nobody doesn't get famous just by doing nothing. Let me just do a little bit of research on her. I found out she is so business savvy. Oh my God, this girl was doing stuff when she was still a teenager. And then in her early 20s, she is this fabulous businesswoman. This is my prediction. She's going to go. She's a mother now. She's going through her different stages. She was just being a 20-something like we all were. Do you think I was thinking about service when I was 23 years old? I was making a lot of money. At 24 years old, my friends and I were competing on who could have the best parties and who could treat whom to Hawaii so we could party in Hawaii. I wasn't thinking like this. This is something that later I went through an enlightenment experience. And I predict that Kim Kardashian is going to go through a process and is going to turn into an amazing humanitarian. And we're watching the growth of a beautiful girl. She's very beautiful, very savvy, very smart. And I predict that within 3 to 5 years, this woman is going to really evolve into something very beautiful that many more people are going to respect. So here we have Oprah Winfrey. I'm talking about really famous people because people know them already. And then we're looking at a Kim Kardashian that looks like she's just about nothing and that she just became this mega wealthy out of doing nothing. That's impossible. And people don't understand business, will have that belief. So if anything you should do is have an understanding that money is not just talent, but it's also put in a structure. But for those of you that really love service, that really love God, that really love Allah, that really love, Kuan Yin and, Sai Baba, whoever your teacher is, Guru Mai, whoever, I want you to know that it is just a thought. And it takes 1 second to go through that transformation, that money is just a means of exchange. And your product or service is probably worth millions. And if you put a structure around it, the more money you have, the more service you will be able to do. And it's just a game.
Whew, I love that. That's so beautiful. Thank you so much, DC.
To learn more about Dame DC Cordova and Money and You, visit her show page on TheHavingItAllShow.com. If you've been feeling stuck in old patterns and your old solutions aren't working, download my free report, Having It All, 5 Steps to Wealth and Wellness and the Pitfalls to Avoid. Go to TheHavingItAllShow.com now and download your free report. That's TheHavingItAllShow.com. That's our show. We'll see you next week.
Join MarBeth next week on The Having It All Show, Lifestyles of the Rich and Conscious. Visit TheHavingItAllShow.com now to learn more about MarBeth and her special guests and download your free report.